Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to another Yoruba Ronu Series. We are in a new year now, 2026. Dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé ọdún yìí dé, ó bá wa láyọ̀ àti àlàáfíà. A kú ọdún, a kú ìyètù. Àwa tí a jọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọdún yìí la jọ máa parí ẹ̀, a tún máa mú ọdún tuntun. Àṣèyí ṣàmọ́dún. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọdún tó kọjá, and ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ọdún yìí náà mi ní pé ó le torí ọdún á yabo fún wa, ọdún á dẹ̀ tù wá lára. So nínú ọdún yìí, àdúrà wa ni pé gbogbo nǹkan kó dẹ̀rọ̀, kí a ní ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ní gbogbo àgbègbè ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ká ní ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Ọlọ́run máa bá wa lọ, Ọlọ́run máa fìṣẹ́ ẹ̀ máa ṣọ́ wa. Ní ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí, a máa continue. We're going to continue exploring the world of geopolitics. I'm going to talk about the global power, as in the superpowers in the globe. We're going to talk about their influence, the complexity of geopolitics, and how we could navigate this as Yoruba race. And I'll be joined by my co-hosts, Madam Ajoke Ade, who's always here almost every week, Ababakare, who's also always here almost every week. And we have Mr. Jolomi on space alongside Mr. Montero, and as well as Madam Ajoke Ade, who is also always here with us every week, and she will be on our social media platform where she will be responding to your comments and engaging you. And I am Olakuju Ayola. I am your host for tonight. And now I'll be introducing you to our speaker, the president of TYF Worldwide, Are Bolariwa Oladimeji. And I'm hoping that tonight he's going to give us a very, very impactful lecture, because you've seen what's happening globally right now, especially with America, Venezuela. We've seen what's going on in the EU. We've seen a lot of stuff that went on during Christmas, around the holiday period. And we see the global reawakening of conservatism and also of nationalism. So I would now bring Are onto the stage, where he's going to give us this lecture. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's impactful. I hope that it inspires us as Yoruba race to be more structured and coordinated. And then this year, that we reach greater stride and we do really well. So, Are, are you ready to give us a great lecture tonight?
I am more than ready.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to each and every one of us. I hope we enjoyed the break. We had like a 2 weeks siesta, like a break, where we knew many of us will be, because of our preparation for Christmas, New Year, a lot of people traveling to their families, and it's been more than 12 months, every week, 52 weeks of grueling lectures every Saturday. And we thought having the 2 weeks break is actually not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad anyway. And within the space of 1 month, like 2-3 weeks that we've been on break, a lot of things has happened in Nigeria, a lot of things has happened in West Africa, a lot of things has happened in the world, and it's really a great time to be alive. If history is going to look back on this generation is one of the most luckiest generation in the history of modern human civilizations and existence, because we are actually witnessing history right in our lifetime. We are not just reading about history, we are participating in history. I greet us all in the name of Olodumare. I want to thank every member of Think Yoruba First organization worldwide. You people have been the rock on which this organization has stood during the time of difficulty, and that has really propelled us into greater heights. I also want to greet all Yoruba people anyway across the world that you are listening to us. Those of you that has defended us, that have supported us, that has prayed for us, that have done one thing or the other, even when we were not there, in continents, in places, in rooms, in powerful places of the world. And you've been able to ensure that people like us can continue to do what we're doing, because this message is extremely critical. This message is extremely critical, not just for the Yoruba people, for all indigenous people, especially people in the global south, because powers are going to change. Superpowers are going to become middle powers. And countries, nation states, ethno states that were not superpowers are surely going to become superpowers. There's going to be a rearrangement of powers in the world. And it is all about making the right decision. And it is the decisions that we make in this century that will actually dictate the power balance and the dynamics in the world for the next 1,000 years. It is critical. We have to get it right, which is why I am here trying to teach history, geopolitics, civilizations, and how it affects Africa, how it affects the Yoruba people. And I pray because that the Yoruba people actually make it, not just as a people, but as people that will be on the table when it comes to global affairs and global race. Currently, I also want to greet the people that have been working day and night in TYF, as regards to the coordinators and the anchors of directors of this beautiful program called Yoruba Ronu program. I really want to thank you for your steadfastness, for your help. May Almighty God continue to be with you and continue to be with your family. Without you, my brothers and sisters, it is impossible for this program to be a success. And those that are working behind the scene and those that are on camera, may Almighty God continue to be with you. For those of you watching me, well, I'm so grateful. This year, I'm just begging you one thing. Then, this program, this lecture is just 1 hour. And after that 1 hour, there will be questions and answers. We're on Facebook. Google Think Yoruba First on Facebook. We are there live. So if you're a Facebook person, you're surely going to watch this program live. If you're on TikTok, this program is being streamed live. Just Google TikTok, Think Yoruba First on TikTok. You're surely going to see us there. You also, if you go to YouTube, we're also on YouTube. And we want you to please help us to watch, share, like, subscribe to our YouTube page, because the message we preach here needs to go to the four corners of the whole world, because people need to actually understand the way the world works, the way the world functions. The Black people, we are not a primitive people. We are not mentally inferior. But something has happened to us ever since colonization happened to the Yoruba, to the Black people in general. Africans, we've lost the ability to understand the complexity of the world. This 300 years debacle, which is the imprisonment of the mind and the inability for us to understand the way the world works, is why the Africans have not been able to produce any superpower for the past 300 years. The Chinese understand the way the world works. The Russians understand the way the world works.
Just bear with me a moment, please. Ariel should be back soon. Just bear with us. Thank you.
Why it is so critical?
Just bear with us, please. Just a moment.
So, this is why we need to understand the concept of superpowers. Who are the superpowers? who are the middle powers, and the rest, which I call the global south, because I want to use a condescending terminology. We live in a multipolar world order. The last century was a battle, an ideological battle between capitalism and communism. It was an ideological battle, and it was a battle between the West and the East. The West led by America, and the East led by Russia, the USSR. But we need to understand that that is no longer the case. The world has changed. The people no longer go to war because they are fighting communists. People no longer go to war because they are fighting socialists. What we currently have is a clash of civilization. Most of the wars in the world currently, most of the conflicts is because of ethno-religious wars. It is the kind of wars that have plagued Africa. It is the kind of war that has plagued Europe. It is the kind of war that has plagued Asia. It is the war that has plagued the old world. There are two categories of the world: the new world and the old world. The new world basically are the Americas, Australia. Those are the new world. South America, North America, and Australia, Oceania. Those are the new world. Now, the old world that has always been the epicenter of ancient human civilization building has always been Europe, Asia, and Africa. So these are the places, the fulcrum of the clash of civilization. So what is a superpower? So the world has become multipolar. So we no longer have just one superpower anymore. We now have multiple powers that are capable of disrupting the status quo in the world. And I'm going to break it down so that people understand how the situation of things, the role they play, how it affects the Yoruba people, how it affects Nigeria, and how we can play this game and survive, and how we can play this game and succeed, and what some people are trying to build. Brothers and sisters, the current world order was not forged through roundtable discussions. The current world order, the creation of superpowers and major powers, was not created through sweet talks. It was created through blood and iron. It was the Second World War. The First World War and the Second World War, which was the major industrial war where men invented machines and technology and devised industrial means to kill men, women kill themselves in their millions at an industrial scale. What am I trying to say? It was the aftermath of the Second World War that gave rise to this current world order. And there were repercussions to that war. And one of the repercussions of that war was that America emerged as the only superpower in the Western Hemisphere. And one of the reasons why America fought on the side of Western Europe in order to fight against Nazi Germany in the Second World War was that America ensured that the European powers gave up their empires. The British Empire gave up its empire. The French gave up their empires. The Spanish gave up their colonies. Because that was the reason because that was the reason why America came in to fight fight as an ally. America did not fight the Second World War just because they wanted to destroy Nazism. There were economic incentives. There were economic conditions. The fact it was just some few years ago that Europe, United Kingdom finished paying the money they borrowed from America because America supported them during the Second World War. So in the real sense of it, amongst the Western countries, nothing is free. America did not take the place of Britain as the major superpower of the world by just because it was nice. No, it was true, brutal economic and diplomatic maneuvering that happened during the Second World War and after the Second World War. So the Second World War led to the destruction and the annihilation of European empires and the creation of the American empire. And America became the sole defender of Western civilization. Now, USSR also emerged as a power base in Eastern Europe, in Eurasia, in Eastern Europe, and in Central Asia, towards the Black Sea, and towards the Far East, as the only major power in that axis. Before US, and that led to the Cold War between communism and capitalism. After the fall of USSR, many people thought that was the end. That was the end of the era of having a multiple power. They believed that having just one superpower in the world is actually going to make the world a better place. But something happened. There was a particular professor who predicted what we are currently witnessing. His name was Professor Samuel Huntington, where he described a phenomenon. He wrote a book, he wrote articles that what is surely the West should never think it is yet Uhuru, that there was going to be what is called the clash of civilization. That the clash of civilization is surely going to shape the 21st century and beyond. That there is going to be an emergence of many superpowers. What do we have currently? Now, we live in a multipolar world order. Since the end of the Cold War, America has been the only country that has the ability to do and undo, to bend the rule of law, the international order, for their own benefits, and to alter the ideology of the Westphalian states and how states are created based on the Westphalian Treaty that emerged in the 19th century in Europe. So what we currently have is that for so many years, many people even thought that Russia was dead and buried, that Russia could not be able to emerge again to enforce its will through the use of brute force on any country in Europe, that was the end of Russia. Now, what about China? The West thought that if they are able to lure China into the world global economic system, China will be westernized and China will not become a threat for them in the future. But they were wrong, because I'm going to give a non-conventional definition of world power. A world power, a superpower, is a power that has the ability to fight a forever war. A world power is a power that can fight war eternally, that has the manufacturing, that has the industrial capacity to fight as long as possible. A world power is a global power that has the industrial manufacturing capacity to fight for as long as possible. In the world currently, only 3 countries have that capacity: USA, China, and Russia. China and America has the capacity to fight for as long as possible. Russia also has the capacity, because Russia has unlimited vast resources, and it has the technological know-how to build weapons, to replace lost technology, to be able to deploy them to fight on its borders and to defend its place. Many countries in the world do not have this capacity. I want to remember what was said why Germany lost the Second World War. Germany lost the Second World War not because Americans were better Fighters. When Adolf Hitler got to know that America was going to fight on behalf of the Allies against the Axis power, which was Japan, Germany, and Italy, led by Mussolini. What Adolf Hitler said was that the Americans are not battle hardened and battle tested. They do not have the capacity to fight, and a war machine, which was the Wehrmacht, which was Germany. But he was wrong. He has forgotten that America was a war machine that could fight an unlimited war. At the peak of the war in Germany, in the Second World War, America was producing one aircraft bomber every 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes for 6 years, America was producing one bomber, every aircraft bomber every 60 minutes. It was almost unbelievable that how can they be able to achieve this? That is the enormous industrial capacity that America has and still has, because it has one of the most biggest, most powerful industrial complexes in the world. But what has China done? China also has that capacity, because we are witnessing one of the period of the greatest powers that the world has ever seen. The manufacturing power base that can match any that can outproduce any civilizations that we've ever seen on Earth. So we have America on one side, we have China on one side, and we have Russia on one side. Now, I will also go further that who is a superpower? Superpowers have the ability to change, redraw borders as they wish. They can create countries where there is no country, and they are going to get away with it. God is a good example. America is a good example. And America has done that several occasions in different places. I'll give 2 instances. America has done that in Russia, and did that in Colombia. America broke Colombia into 2 because America wanted America wanted a canal that would link the Pacific to the Atlantic. They wanted a Panama Canal, and they created Panama out of Colombia. That is the power of superpowers. America also did something. They created Kosovo out of Serbia, right in the heart of Europe, in the Balkans. One of the most volatile places in the European continent. America created Kosovo, even though violated the sovereignty of Kosovo, and created a country out of nothing. And they went to go and impose their military base right in Kosovo. So that is a superpower. That is redrawing the map. They don't need to go to United Nations and ask you to vote before they redraw maps, because they are hegemons. They do not answer to the laws that bind the global south or the middle powers. What about Russia? Russia went into Ukraine, seized 5 regions, and said it is part of Russia. And the world can be talking about sanctions left, right, and center, but everybody has come to the reality is that that place have now become part of Russia. And Russia is saying, yes, I will do it, and there's nothing you are going to do. Russia also did the same thing. Russia also redrew the map of Georgia. Russia broke Georgia, wrecked it, and took 20% of Russia, or Georgia, a neighboring country, and created two countries. It's called South Ossetia and Abkhazia out of Georgia. Even though it's just 2-3 countries in the world that recognizes it, but it's still significant, showing that Russia has the ability to redraw the world map. United Nations condemns it. It is a violation of international law. It is a violation of this sovereignty. When people talk about this sovereignty is just a product of after post 1945 order. And the people that made this order is America and the superpowers. Russia sees itself as the successor state to the USSR. So Russia believes it can redraw map. It can do what the USSR can do. Thanks, it is one of the most nuclear armed countries on the surface of the earth. So I've given you 2 instances where Russia has also changed the world map. What about China? China is a different reality, it's a different ballgame entirely. China has the ability. The system of empire building of China is different. China is a different civilization entirely. If you look at the Western point of view, or the classical point of view of empire building or superpower building, to understand the way China operates, you are going to miss it. China built its empire using the tributary system of empire building. What is the tributary system of empire building? The tributary system of empire building is that through trade, through commerce, through soft power, soft projection of power, within the Southeast Asian Sea and throughout the world, China believes it is the center of the world and is going to control your finance, control many of these things, and it is now going to have leverage over you. And China has done a lot of things as regards redrawing of the map of the world, even though people don't talk about it. China violated the international sovereignty of Tibet. Many United Nations, world power, they've talked about Tibet, left, right, and center. China also invaded Eastern Turkmenistan Republic, where the Uyghur Muslims, who are Turkic, declared their country. China went in there, annexed it, destroyed their new nation, and put it into part of China. Same thing as what China did to Tibet. Well, let's talk about the issue of Hong Kong. We know Hong Kong is historically Chinese. But I want to ask you a question. Tell me which nation on earth can challenge United Kingdom and take one of the most richest piece of estates right in the Southeast Asian Sea and take it from a European country like Britain. China did it. They took Hong Kong from China. They took Hong Kong from United Kingdom and took it back. After close to 200 years that Hong Kong was not part of China anymore. What about Macau? Macau has ceased to be part of China for close to 400 to 500 years. It has continued to be a classical Portuguese colony. It was part of the Portuguese Empire. But what did China do? China took it back. Oh, that is the ability to look at middle powers on the face and say, give me back that territory, it belongs to me. It belongs to me. You can't try that with it is only superpowers that can do that. They have the capacity, they have the means, they have the economic means to fight, they have the industrial means to fight, they have the means of violence, they have the means of economic power and leverage. Look at what China is also talking about. Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China, and they are saying they are going to go to war to take it back. And the world is just trying to beg them, please don't do this. That is how superpowers behave. Can Nigeria dare do that? Can Nigeria say it wants to go and fight to go and take back Bakassi? You can't do that. So China is a superpower. And if you look at America and China, America also used soft power. Hollywood is one of the biggest it's one of the biggest projection of American soft power. China also did this quietly. Many of us did not know until they started pushing out kung fu movies. Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, all these people, all of a sudden showed, they were able to show the strength, the power, the technical, how strong the Chinese people are. That was what they were just projecting. Many of us have not been to China, but I'm very sure when you get to China, what comes to your mind psychologically is that you are seeing people that can jump from 3-story, shoot, kick, fight, monkey in a kung fu, monkey in a devil's shadow, kung fu, drunken master. That's what comes to your mind. It's the bitter truth. It is social engineering. When you go to America, what you start thinking is commando. You start talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You start talking about all this action movie, Terminator. That's what comes to your mind, because they've been able to project power. They've been able to go all over the world to project soft power. Now, let's talk about middle power. Now, middle power. Now, if you look at these superpowers have two things in common. They have the following things. They also have this following thing in common. Many of them are ethnic majority countries. Many of them, in the real sense of it, when they say, oh, Russia is diverse, when they say America is diverse, when they say China is diverse, it is not true. When you have 70% majority of a particular linguistic, racial, or ethno-linguistic block or ethnic block, that place is not more diverse. There will always be minorities. Russia is almost 75 to 80% Russian. So it's an ethno state. China is 90% Chinese, one ethnicity. It is an ethno state. Excuse me. America is majority white. America is 70% white. It is an ethno state. It is an ethno state. If you look at most superpowers, when Germany was a superpower, it was an ethno state. When the British Empire was a superpower, it was an ethno power structure. It was the English ethnicity, Anglo-Saxon, ruling the whole world. So for you to become a superpower, there must be an ethno state, because having that ethno state makes it very easy to be able to make decisions, to have a stable political class. So when people say, oh, America is all lies, there are diversity in America. Yeah, there are blacks, there are Latinos, but America has been configured. The whites on top and other minorities. And due to the civil rights movement, They've been able to give minorities their rights and tolerate minorities. That's all. C'est fini. In China, we also have minorities like the Mongolians. You have the Mongolians, you have the Huis, you have the Uyghurs, you have the Tibetans. Those are minorities within China. China is now 92% un-Chinese. So all the superpowers are racially or ethno-religiously homogeneous. So they are racially, ethnic, or racial or ethno-religiously homogeneous. And if you also look at these three superpowers, they are also linguistically homogeneous. They are not towers of Babel. They speak one language. America speaks English. Russia speaks Russian. Chinese speak Mandarin. So we understand what superpowers is all about. We have to break this down so that Confucianists, people that are running propaganda, do not start Cold War social brainwashing of our people, and we do not make the same mistake of the last century. The last century was a wasted generation, apart from destroying the destroying the European empires. The last century was a wasted opportunity for black people, is the bitter truth. Now, let's talk about middle powers. The middle powers, even though this is before the middle powers, their function, their global influence was relatively weak. But middle powers, they are now emerging. And this quiet rise of a particular geopolitical bloc in the world that are junior partners to the superpowers, they are junior partners to the superpowers, and they tend to get away. It's a very limited club. These middle powers are a very limited club. There are not many. And they are junior partners of the superpower. That is why you need to open your eyes and understand the way the world works. If your country, your ethnicity, your race is not amongst the superpowers, is not amongst the middle power, and you are talking anyhow on social media, you are going to put everybody into trouble. Or you are fomenting revolution. You just be used as a pawn, as a cannon fodder in the game of empire building and the ruthless way ruthless war of geopolitics. The middle powers are junior partners. They are like the attack dogs of the superpowers. They use them to attack, to enforce their will, to shape, their regional players. They are like semi-players in different places. And Nigeria actually wants to become a middle power in West Africa. At least like what Nigeria went to do in Benin Republic. But Nigeria is not there yet. And Nigeria is not there because of the clash of civilization that is within it. That it does not know how to solve it. Let me tell you the truth. The powers that be in Nigeria do not understand how to solve the complexity and the internal contradiction within Nigeria. Because it's a British creation. There's nothing organic about it. There's nothing. What is the civilization driving Nigeria? Nothing. What is the ideology driving Nigeria? Nothing. It's just a country existing on paper. And we are running a democracy every 4 years. And every time people are complaining, we are doing music. That is not what is relevant when it comes to powers in the world. So let's go by about middle powers. Middle powers have the ability to project power. They also have the ability to fund chaos and get away with it. And examples of middle powers are Israel, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Turkey. Turkey is a middle power. Another country that is also trying to be a middle power is Morocco. Morocco is working hard. It has been working on this project of becoming a middle power, not just in Africa and in the world, for the past 40 years. Morocco once tried to join they once envisaged that they wanted to join the European Union. Morocco wanted to do it. Morocco sees itself as part of the European Union. The way it comports itself, the way it does things, it wants to be Europe by all means. And they play their game. What Morocco does is it aligns the interest. And Morocco is wise to do that, because Morocco is the closest country to Europe in Africa. In fact, part of the African continent belongs to Spain. Part of Morocco belongs to Spain. You don't need to travel by sea or anything to get into Spain when you are from Morocco. You just need to walk and cross the border. So Morocco aligns itself with Spain. And Europe, they like one of the things Morocco is using to leverage its importance, to say, look, use me as a middle power, and I will as a middle power. Let me join the exclusive middle power club. One of the things Morocco does say is the ability to also control the borders. That when it controls the border, uncontrolled migration is not going to be coming from sub-Saharan Africa into Europe. The same thing Turkey does. Turkey says, look, I am the gateway into Europe. If I open my gate, people will rush en masse from the Arab Peninsula and Central Asia and walk into Europe. So these two powers, these two blocks are very, very powerful. But only Turkey has actually been able to cement its status as the middle power. Excuse me. And how was Turkey able to do this? Turkey was able to do this because Turkey is the successor state to the Ottoman Empire. It is the successor state to the Ottoman Empire. So because Turkey is the successor state to the Ottoman Empire, and it is the most powerful state in Central Europe, in the Mediterranean and Central Asia, amongst the Turkic states. There are close to 7 Turkic states that are ethnically majority made up of Turkic people that speak almost the same language. So Turkey is an ethnic, it's a middle power. It has the ability to also do and undo. Turkey, we've seen what Turkey does. Turkey was the one that was crucial in the expulsion of ethnic Armenians out of Nagorno-Karabakh by helping another Turkic state, which was Azerbaijan, so that place now belongs to the Turkish people. That is a middle power in action. Another middle power in action, where Turkey leverages power, is what Turkey is doing in Libya. Another middle power we also have in United Arab Emirates. Now, one of the key things that these middle powers have one of the following things. One, they have unlimited money. They are so rich. So they have the money. If they do not have the army, they can hire mercenaries, people to do the fighting for them. That's number one. Number two, they are strategically located. Turkey is located on the Black Sea. So most of the countries in Eastern Europe, Russia, They need to pass, their fleet needs to pass through the Bosphorus Strait. So Turkey is so crucial. If Turkey blocks that place, that particular piece of uh, of 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 uh, of uh, of uh, of human uh, of naval navigation, is going to be useless. So Turkey is so crucial as a middle power. And we saw what Turkey also did in Cyprus, where Turkey went to unilaterally recognize the independence of Northern Cyprus, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, TRSCN. That is only a middle power that can do that. But because the reason why the West, especially America, could not crack down on Turkey, Turkey is part of NATO. And Turkey has more importance, especially in checkmating Russia in the Black Sea, and Turkey being used as a counterbalance to Arab imperialism. Now, Saudi Arabia is a middle power. Now, Saudi Arabia, because it controls, it was able to win after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. The House of Al Saud were able to fight and expel Turkish soldiers, Turkish pashas, Turkish representatives in order to take over the holy site of Islam, which is in Mecca and Medina, and take it away and control it. By doing that, Saudi Arabia has been able to position itself as the leader, as the custodian of Islam, Sunni Islam, and the leader of Sunni Islam in the world. And Turkey is also challenging it for close to 600 years. For 600 years, Turkey was able to rule the entire Arab world and been able to be the custodian and leader of the Islamic world. So there is that friction. But by projecting spiritual leverage and the unlimited petrodollars that Saudi Arabia has, it has been able to turn itself as a junior partner. It has been able to turn itself as a junior partner to the United States. It has been able to turn itself as a junior partner to the United States and also being a middle power. So look at what Israel did. Israel went to recognize Somaliland. People are fighting, but Israel is a middle power. It is the most powerful military in the Middle East. It is economically powerful. It has friends. It has leverages. If you need good favor, you need to access the White House for favor. Israel will help you to do it. If you also need good favor from America, UAE can also help you to do it. If you need good favor from America, Saudi Arabia can help you to do it. That is, this is the definition of superpowers. The definition of middle powers. They are so crucial. It is a new club. And these people, they oftentimes do the dirty job. They do the dirty work that normally the superpowers cannot do. So the superpowers push them out and they help them to do the dirty work. So that is how Turkey operates. That is how the middle powers operate. The middle powers are those that do the dirty work that the superpowers cannot do. And many of them are now oil rich. And many of them are super, super rich. They have the billions and billions and billions of dollars that many countries can never make in their entire 1,000-year lifetime to be able to influence any decision. You cannot be able to beat that. And some of them have hardcore military complex. I read an article when Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel, Prime Minister of Israel, was saying that Israel is now going to build their own military industrial complex that is going to give them total autonomy. Total autonomy in the world. So this is what Israel said, that they are going to give them total autonomy in the world. That this is going to give them leverage to be able to defend themselves and be able to also produce their own military hardware totally. So they are looking at what Turkey is doing, because Turkey is creating cheap drones, cheap armament. If you need sophisticated military hardware, we saw the power of Turkey. The power of Turkey has been displayed in 2-3 places. Those that saw the war between Armenia and Azerbaijan knew that Turkey actually, they have the military arsenal as a middle power to enforce anything throughout Central Asia. So everybody is also Israel also have that capacity too. So these are the definition of middle powers, central powers, and now middle powers and superpower. Now the global south, that is the rest of us. That is the rest of us. That is why, excuse me. That is why it is very funny for you to see someone, absolutely funny. You are from a country like Nigeria, or you come from a country like Congo, but because you have access to social media, you start you start talking about Pan-Africanism. Let us fight back. Let us do that. How are you going to fight back? How are you going to fight back with stick? Do you understand what they call hypersonic missiles? Do you understand what they call Stinger missiles? You don't even have any single company in your countries that are producing bullets. If there is a naval blockade, land blockade, you cannot be able to even defend yourself. You don't even know your place. And the middle powers that I described did not become powerful overnight. They played a strategic place. Nobody can destroy Saudi Arabia as it is. You can't destroy the UAE. You can't destroy Israel. Because they've been able, you can't destroy Turkey. Because they've been able to strategically place themselves as important powers. As important power. South Korea, okay, those are not middle powers. So the rest of us are at the mercy of both the middle powers and the at the mercy of both the middle powers and the superpowers. We saw what Netanyahu said a few days ago. He said Israel is going to come and defend Christians in Nigeria. That is like that is a direct challenge to the sovereignty of Nigeria. He's literally telling the president of Nigeria that you are not doing your job, you are not protecting your citizens, you are persecuting your citizens. We are coming to come and defend Christians in Nigeria. Did you see any Nigerian president react? No, you can't react. You talk anyhow, they will make you pay for it. Because they have the means. And what we see currently, this is another angle. There is the most powerful military power in the Middle East, in that area, is Turkey and Israel. So they are taking their war. Now there is Turkey and Israel are going toe to toe in Syria. Turkey and Israel are going toe to toe in Somalia. Turkey and Israel are going toe to toe. They are coming. So Nigeria is another place where it's going to be a fight to finish between Turkey and Israel. And it's so unfortunate that Nigeria has how am I going to put it? We've unfortunately brought ourselves into the middle of a war that we have no business in. That's what Nigeria has done. Because of the extremism, state-sponsored intolerance extremism that is coming from the core north, from the northwest and part of the northeast. Because what is happening, and the world has also changed. There is an old school belief in geopolitics that I still believe majority of the countries in the global south and majority of the middle powers. France is a middle power. United Kingdom is a middle power. I'm sorry to say that. They are powerful, but they've become middle powers. They are no longer great powers. They are no longer global power. They cannot project violence as they used to do 80, 90, 100 years ago. We've seen the way France is being chased out of their colonies in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger. A real superpower, you can't chase them. It's a real superpower. It's not good. You're not going to try that with them. You can't try that with them. So that's why you saw what the war in Ukraine to the Russians. It is a fight for them to maintain their superpower status. To maintain their superpower status. That they have the means of violence to redraw maps and enforce their will on their neighbors or to project power. This is about power. And you need to understand, look, the issue of morality, humanity, let us live in peace, one love, one word, you are going to get to heaven before you achieve all these things. On earth, it is a jungle. You need to understand that game. You need to open your eyes. You need to understand, as a Yoruba man, what is your leverage? What do you have to give the world? Going to go and cry in front of the United Nations with placard is not going to, it is good. Making noise is good. It's not going to give you any solution to your problem. It's not. You must be able to project power. You must be able to defend your base. You must be able to have something that the world wants, a superpower wants, or a middle power wants, that they will now use that to protect you. Security is not free. Nobody say, oh, because they killed 3 million of us, they will come and protect us. No, nobody's interested in that. They killed millions of Armenians. They killed millions of Kurds. They killed millions. If you don't have anything on ground, nobody gives a damn about you. Millions of Kurdish people were killed by Saddam Hussein. But because the Kurdish people have oil and gas to negotiate with, America gave them autonomy within Iraq. They negotiated, they were voting for one regional government. Oh, we want regional government in Iraq. Saddam Hussein went to go and they said, okay, we are going to deal with Saddam Hussein. We are going to do what the Arabs, because Arabs do not love, pan-Arabs, the Sharia system, the Sunni Islamic civilization that they run. These things like restructuring, they do not want it. That's why you are going to see the problem in Nigeria, where some regions, they do not want to hear anything called restructuring, because it is against the Islam, it's against the civilization they run. They believe it's a centralized power. It is very easy for them to dominate, conquer, and destroy you. It's not about conquest, it's not about destruction. The political system they run is about, part of the creed is the domination of, of religious or ethnic minorities. They don't believe in equal rights, that the minorities are going to have the same rights as the majority, in an Arab-controlled state is impossible. It doesn't exist. Those kind of things exist only in Western Europe. Even in Asia, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And that is psychology that drives the politics of northern Nigeria. Go and look at southern Kaduna, look at southern Borno, look at Yobe, look at Bauchi, look at Gombe, look at Kebbi. How are they treating their minorities? Is the way the Arabs are treating the Kurds in Syria. Is the way the Arabs are treating the Kurds in Syria. Is the way the Arabs are treating the Maronite Christians in Lebanon. Is the way the Arabs are treating the Druze in Syria. Is the way the Arab Sunnis are treating the Shiites in Saudi Arabia. Is the way the Arab Sunnis are treating the Shiites, who are the majority actually, in Bahrain. Go to Somalia. There are Bantu Somalis who are in almost 10 to 20% of the population of Somalis. Go and look at how ethnic Somalis who believe they are Arabs are treating the Bantus. It's a creed. So I'm going to stop here. Next week, I'm going to delve into the issue of Nigeria proper. The global power, superpower, middle power, and the global south. How are we going to fit into this? And what is the future of West Africa? What is the future of the world? Because many people felt, oh, it's not. You saw African Union issuing statements. The issue of Somaliland has been there for more than 35 years. African Union could not solve it. The issue of Western Sahara has been there for more than 40 years. African Union could not solve it. The issue of Southern of Congo and Rwanda has been there. It has happened now. African Union could not solve it. But when a superpower or a middle power comes to the draw maps for us, we are going to see performative Pan-Africanists coming out and saying all sorts of jargons. For us to survive this 21st century, emotions must be thrown into the dustbin. We must see things for what it is. If we really want to survive as a people, we must forget the African Union. Yeah, they are there, performative. But the powers is power. We must, for our own survival, because what is happening in the Sahel is not going to stay in the Sahel. The killings, the bombing, what happened in the Middle East did not stay in the Middle East. We are seeing it in Boko Haram and ISIS. So what is happening in Mali, in Burkina Faso, is already in Kwara State and Kogi State. So it is coming, we've seen it in Ondo State. It is not going to stop there. That is why you are going to see that the most religious, intolerant people are the most pro-Nigerian people you are ever going to see. Have you ever wondered? People that preach religious hate, people that say don't eat Christmas food, Muslims must not eat Christmas food, people that are advocating for a theocratic law in a democratic setting in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious country like Nigeria are the people that shout one Nigeria the most. Have you asked yourself that question? Why? Because they believe, this is what they would not say, and I'm going to say it in public. They believe that by keeping Nigeria the way it is, no state police, no restructuring, no regional system, they can conquer Nigeria in one piece. It is a bitter truth. And the example of what happened with the Taliban and what happened in Syria, Taliban were categorized by the entire Western world and their allies from close to over 20 years as a terrorist group. Taliban, Boko Haram, ISIS was in the same category. Many Taliban leaders, they had bounties on their head. What happened? Taliban is now seen as a normal country. If the Taliban can take over a country as big as Afghanistan, you see Syria. Syria is one of the ancient masterpieces of Roman civilization, of the Roman Empire. But Syria was taken over. Syria was not taken over by just one military general or one military junta. Syria was taken over by an Al-Qaeda leader, somebody in the category of Abubakar Shekau or Mohammed Yusuf or one yellow. That was the person that took over Syria. And you see the way they have now rebranded him. He's now wearing suit instead of a jalabia or dressing or all the anti-Jew, anti-American. They've wiped it off the internet. So if those people can take over two countries, two resource-rich countries, so tell me, why do you think Al-Qaeda cannot negotiate with the with the West and take over Mali? Tell me how you think Al-Qaeda cannot take over Niger and the world will move on. Tell me how you think Al-Qaeda cannot take over Burkina Faso. Now that those even countries are now, they've become client and vassal states of Russia. Sometimes I laugh. These Pan-Africanists that talk, Russian mercenaries are fighting for gold to give security so that the government of Bamako and Ouagadougou and Niamey do not collapse. It is not done for free. They are collecting gold. They are being paid in gold because Russia needs the gold in order to evade sanction. Because once you have gold, you cannot be sanctioned by any economic sanction in the world. The gold is far more globally accepted than the dollar. So they are collecting gold to fight Awadagunta, to fighting in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niamey. So what exactly is this problem? So Russia is not doing it for free. Russia is doing it in order to be able to project its superpower status. So what exactly is this romantic? Is this like, oh, because you are cursing the West? What about Russia? Russia is also an imperialist state. It was an imperialist state. Russia was part of the nations, the empires, that was part and parcel of the Berlin 1884 Berlin West African Conference. So if Russia is coming to assist you, Russia is doing it in order to counter their supposed rivals, which is the United States of America. And the belief, there was a belief that the Western world thought. What the thought was that China was never going to come to the aid of Russia, because during the century of humiliation of China in the 19th century, during the period of the Qing dynasty, Russia annexed over 1 million square kilometers of land, especially in the Eastern Corridor, Eastern Axis, from China. And China still wants it back. But China realizes it is better to have a multipolar world order than have a world order dominated by a ruthless United States. It is surely going to destroy China. So what has China done? China is propping up another superpower, Russia, by providing the needed cash and microchips, semiconductors, that China now has the breakthrough in order to be able to keep the industrial military complex, to keep the industrial complex of Russia running. It is better to have multiple superpowers than have one global superpower. Because what America has become is that America has become the protector of Western civilization. And there is something I said many old school geopolitical experts are missing. They think it's a fluke, but it's not a fluke. We are back to the rise of white nationalism and Christian nationalism. But Christian nationalism is what they are trying to use to counter what Islamic nationalism that is coming from the Middle East. That is why you see that Israel has quietly injected themselves into the Christian nationalism movement, which is going to be bloody. It is going to pull many countries into pieces, destroy many countries. And that is why I said the Connaught did not emphasize a period like this. Because if you look at the way the European empires operate, they don't care about religion. They don't care. It's not about their interests first. In fact, if you look at many places in Africa, you look at Sudan, for instance. Britain Christianized Southern Sudan, but what happened? They handed over power to Northern Sudan and looked away when Northern Sudan, Arab fundamentalist Islamists were massacring and annihilating Southern Sudanese that were Christians and animists. The same thing in Nigeria. They gave power to the feudal Islamic North, Islamist North, to be dominating the South that are largely Christians and largely Westernized. That's been their game plan. Because they will not allow you to use the Western civilization that you have to be able to now become a competitor to them in the future. I'm going to stop here. Next week, we're surely going to continue. May Olodumare continue to bless the entire Yoruba race. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Thank you for that lecture. Thank you very much. We're going to start our Q&A now. Before I say more stuff, I want to say thank you to our viewers on TikTok. Unfortunately, we can't grab majority of your comments or your questions because it disappears so fast. So we know you're watching us, and we just want to say thank you for being part of the program. And now I'm going to add the rest of my co-hosts onto the stage so we can start our Q&A properly. Just a moment, please. Welcome, Baba Bakre, and welcome, Madam Ajoke Ade. So, all right, thank you for that lecture again. I just want to say that so far, from what you've said, I believe Yoruba people have learned a lot, and they understand that with geopolitics, it's all about leverage. Oh, I think we lost our. Okay, it's back now. I believe Yoruba people understand that with geopolitics is all about leverages, and understanding of negotiation, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and knowing how to use them best. So, Baba Bakari, I will let you take over the Q&A now. Do we have anyone on stage? Do you have anything you want to contribute, both you and Madam Ajoke Ade, before we carry on with the program?
Okay, thank you, Madam Peju. Thank you, Are. Happy New Year to you once again. And Madam Jukade, thank you very much for all being with us. I say Happy New Year to everybody. I can see two hands are up, Mr. Oluwasegun Egbarewa and Abu Madea. So, Mr. Oluwasegun, you want to go first, please? And try speak louder, please. Mr. Oluwasegun, can you hear me? Mr. Oluwasegun, are you there? Okay,
Maybe
why?
we take the next
We have
person.
the one. Okay, I'm going to give some shout out to our viewers on YouTube as well as on Facebook and Twitter as well. I want to say for just a moment. I need to take off the caption for a Q&A first, and then I can start my shout out. So to Lion, Lion on Twitter space or Twitter or X, Happy New Year to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Then we have Madam Ajoke Ademi. We thank you for also joining us. May God be with you and your family in this new year. I also want to say hello to Mr. Olatoye Bayewu on Facebook. Thank you for joining us, sir. May God continue to strengthen and empower we Yoruba people. May we all be able to be more coordinated and become, even if it's a middle power, like someone suggested in the comment section, which I'm also going to show. May Olodumare continue to be with us. I also want to say thank you and welcome to Babawa Dr. Bakayode. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight, as well as just a moment, please. I'm scrolling a little bit fast. So, hello to Mr. Banuso on Facebook. Thank you for joining us tonight. And then Madam Ajoke Ademi was the one who made a comment about middle power. There is a comment here. She's hoping as well that Nigeria could become a middle power in West Africa if we can solve the problem of the Sahel. Do we have a speaker ready now, sir, or should I go on?
Yeah, I think yes. Please, we have brought up about 4 to 5 speakers.
Okay.
Let
Let
me
me
see
quickly
your
say
hand
one
up.
more. Let me quickly say
Let me
one
see
more
your
shout
hand up
out.
once you're ready to talk, so I can call you.
All right, I'll give one more shout out and then I'll let
Okay.
you carry on, and then we can continue shout out later. So on YouTube, rather, I want to say thank you to Mr. Shola Ide 114. I believe it's Mr. or Miss Madam. I'm not sure. Thank you for joining us, and we pray that as you are thinking about us, you are able to use all the lessons or all the inspiring stuff you learned on this program, you're able to use it and spread it to other Yoruba, as well as be able to use it in a way that is impactful for Yoruba land and Yoruba race. So, Baba, you can carry on now. We'll
Okay.
continue with the shout out later on the
Good
question. Thank you.
works. Our first speaker tonight, our first person who will entertain is Good Works. Good work, Adam. Please, you have just 2 minutes. After him, Minister Oluwatobi will take the mic. Yeah, good work. Please go ahead. Can you try speak loud? Sorry. Hello. Can you? Yeah, you can. You can do better. You can speak more loud.
Okay. So good evening to everyone and happy new year. So mine is just like a question to to this day.
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So mine is a question to this day. So I observed like the situation with the people in Somaliland, and I saw how they were able to like read the room geopolitically, and they were able to align themselves properly for them to like get what they were looking for. And I wanted to ask how do we take them, like what kind of how and even the religious extremists among them even bought into that idea, and they forgot about religion and moved the entire state goals. So like how were they able to develop that kind of high level geopolitical thinking? And how can Yoruba people actually like, how do you see Yoruba people? Do you think like we can actually think in that direction, and how do we develop that kind of skills? Because when I saw what they did like the past week, I was just amused seeing like black people thinking in that high level of geopolitics. That's just my question.
Thank you very much. Um, thank you. Happy New Year, sir. Thank you so much for your steadfastness. Please bring your friends and families to come and partake and participate in this lecture, in this series. We have to go from strength to strength, and we have to continue to build on the momentum. You asked a very brilliant question. How can the Yoruba people reach that level of consciousness to understanding how to play geopolitics like the people of Somaliland? You asked a very good question. Number one, it is about joining forums like joining a forum like this. So by joining a forum like this, we are surely going to be able to create an army of well-versed and well-intelligent people. Now, let me tell you this truth. The core North are not illiterate. Many of them, they attend Quranic schools between the age of 4 to 12. Now, this Quranic school, they are not just teaching them ordinary Quran. Part of what they teach them is Islamic geopolitics from the Islamic point of view. Unfortunately for the Christian folks, mostly in the South, many of them also attend Sunday school. But when they attend Sunday school, the Sunday school, they don't even talk about politics. They don't even talk about geopolitics. One, I'm master of politics. Sheni, it is evil. But you now come around, you come to the level of now playing politics. You want to play North versus South. You are talking about a people that are well versed in Islamic geopolitics. And Islamic geopolitics is not, it is Arab geopolitics. But you look at, so the people of Somaliland, they first understand geopolitics from an Islamic point of view. You cannot use Islamic brotherhood, Islamic Puritanism. You cannot use religion to brainwash them. So one. Two, you cannot be located on the Red Sea and not have common sense. They are located they are in a piece of an estate that everybody wants. It's just like all the ethnicities that are located in the coastal region of Africa, of West Africa. Arewa wants access to the sea. The Southeast wants access to the sea. Many ethnicities in the Nupes want access to the sea, because many people don't talk about the Nupe jihad. The Nupe jihad was as deadly as the Fulani jihad. The Nupe jihad almost annihilated 70%, killed 60% of the people of the current day Yoruba people of Kogi and the Yoruba people of Northern Edo State, the Akokos, and killed almost 40% of the Yoruba people in Northern Ondo State, the Nupe jihad. We were fortunate that they were stopped. They took over the entire Northern Edo State. That is how close they were on reaching the Atlantic Ocean. People think they were stopped from, when we talk about stopping the Islamic, Afro-Asiatic Islamic civilization that is in the Connaught from having a direct access to the Atlantic Ocean. People talk about the Battle of Osogbo. Yeah, but people don't also know a battle, the Ogidi Alliance, where the Yoruba people led that war. The Yoruba, the Okun, the Akoko people, even the Ebiras, the same Ebira people now that have now keyed themselves into political Islamism within the context of Nigeria, the Afemites fought a brutal war against the Nupes in order to stop their expansionism in getting access to the Atlantic Ocean. So the Somaliland people, they understand they are in a piece, we are in a piece of an estate that everybody wants. The Yoruba people need to first understand that you are located in a piece of land that people will kill for, die for, and get. You are going to understand and add value to Yoruba land. Yoruba people own Lagos, the economic engine of the entire black race. Yoruba people own Ondo Port. You own the port. You also have stake in Warri. So everybody wants a piece of you. You also own Port Novo. The Somaliland people understand that. They know what they have to leverage with. Tó bá yẹ pé Hausa Fulani ló ní Èkó, àwọn náà ní Lagos ni, or Igbo ló ní Lagos, you will see that they will be, you will see the arrogance and how they are going to understand and cherish Lagos. The Yoruba people don't cherish Lagos. We don't. I'm sorry. I want to, this year is going to be more for, I want to choose my words carefully. We don't cherish Lagos. We don't cherish Yoruba land. We don't even want to fight for the defense and the protection of Yoruba people, of Yoruba land and territory. We don't understand the piece of estates. Everybody wants it. So Somaliland people, you don't need to teach them geopolitics because survivor ti kọ́ wọn. Wọ́n ti understand ogun ti jà wọ́n. Many of them wọ́n ti fi ogun lé wọn káàkiri diaspora. What about the Jews? The Jews understand that everybody wants Jerusalem. The Crusaders from Europe fought First Crusade, Second Crusade, many bloody wars because the Western Christians were Christian civilization also wanted to control Jerusalem. In fact, when the Crusaders got into Jerusalem, they chased and killed the Jews in Jerusalem. What about the Islamic world? They also want to control Jerusalem because Jerusalem has the third holiest site in Islam. So we understand that Jerusalem, everybody wants Jerusalem. Do you know the billions of dollars they make every year? Or what you read on Jerusalem? Jerusalem or Nigeria and read your way polo. Or what Saudi Arabia and read Mecca and Medina. One more see Nigeria need do polo. Do you think it is only the Arabs Nicole Lerope and other Muslim nations fair come and control Jerusalem and control Mecca and Medina? Don't you know that Turkey also wants to control Mecca and Medina again, like they did for close to 500 years? You think Iran does not want to control Mecca and Medina? So one more way, our border double boile. You think other even within the Arab nation, because the Arab identity sometimes has even become a linguistic identity. Because many people are not ethnically Arab, they are Arabized people. So Turkey wants to control even share of UAE, Qatar, Yemen, and Houthis. They don't also want to control Mecca and Medina. You think they will not march an army and go and control it? So everybody wants a piece of internal law. You are going to fight and defend it. Into man taking Sherry, teach it is good, but experience is the best teacher. Because see classroom to that be experience like you. Because see classroom here. Àwọn Yorùbá máa ń pa òwe kan pé ìyà ò jẹ́ olóògbọ́n ta ni teacher tó kọ́ ẹ. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí Yorùbá jẹ ìyà kíyà tó ló dá kéèyàn fi ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n ṣọgbọ́n. Ó dáa. So torí ẹ̀ ní àwọn Somaliland, tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn Somaliland yẹn, they are so open intellectually, they engage. They are not close-minded people. They are not arrogant and they are smart. Somalis are smart. Ethnic Somalis are smart. They are one of the people with the highest IQ in the world. I'm telling you the truth, though. Iran here is a very smart race. So I'm going to stop here.
Sir, before we go to another question, can I just ask a question from Facebook? So quickly ask some question from Facebook. All right, you need to wrap it up. Like just give us a quick answer, and we can go to the next speaker on space. So I'm going to put the question on screen now for you to see. This is from Facebook from Mr. Adewale. My question is, in light of all that has been said in this lecture, does our opinion leaders in Yoruba land and our president understand this? And do you think the present government is on the right trajectory to place our race in the right place?
I will not be able to answer all the questions, but I will answer half of the question for sensitivity issue.
Okay.
One, what we are currently doing by having an organization, a global organization like Think Yoruba First organization, is one of the critical, most important thing we need to do. You need to have a nationalist base that is interacting diplomatically with the political class. That was why you also have Dawn Commission. The Dawn Commission was also established by nationalists from the diaspora, together with our people on ground, to interact with our political class. That is why there's a level of sanity when it comes to governance within Yoruba land compared to the rest of Nigeria. I saw a news that the Southeast Development Commission has collected over 150, close to $150 billion without a single project. Billion naira. 150 billion naira has been given to the Southeast. Nothing has been done with it. You know why? Because there is no structure on ground to translate the nationalist think tank base into technocracy, into governance, into administration. I'm not saying it is perfect in the Southwest. So what we are currently doing, we are not working in isolation. We are also trying to submit and engage with the political class. And don't think the political class are not listening. They are listening to us. They are here, listening anonymously. That's why Twitter is one of the most powerful tools in this century. Because you are going to reach thousands and thousands of people. And powerful people. Because this is the most powerful platform in the world, where both the kings, the commoners, the middle class, the lower middle class, the generals, they are here. So it is far real than you think. So I'm going to stop here.
All right, Baba, you can go now. Bring on the next speaker, and then we'll take another question from the social media comment section. Thank you. Baba, we can't hear you, sir. Baba Bakri, we can't hear you. You're muted.
How about now?
All right, I can hear you now, sir.
Okay. Based on the first question you answered, right, is there any plan within TYF in 2026 to build geopolitics into our curriculum through Dawn Commission? Now we thank goodness that I think they brought back, I forgot this class now, like, to learn about histories and, civic studies, if I may put it that way, into our classrooms. Is there any way we can build anything within Yoruba land through Dawn? Because we thank goodness now the governors are listening to Dawn Commission. Very briefly, Ale.
There is no geopolitics is a different ballgame. Geopolitics is university, it is postgraduate. It's postgraduate studies. So it's not something you put history. In fact, you can know the history in the world. Talk about the history of Russia, Oduduwa, Lamurudu, Okapi, all those kind of fictional tales. But there's nothing called Lamurudu anyway. But you might not understand geopolitics. And that is one of the most dangerous things. When I see people with knowledge of history, but zero understanding of geopolitics, they are doing more danger to the Yoruba race than even to other people. So we can only use platforms like this, create little schools, create little courses, boot camps for people to come and learn geopolitics. And that is the only way. And it is working. Thousands of people listening to me tonight, before there is a different understanding of geopolitics. The way they approach matter is different. Nobody can come around and say, oh, new Nigeria is possible. Oh, obedient, to come and fool a large percentage of Yoruba youth again. They will start asking critical questions. So things have changed. And I'm really proud of Yoruba youth. How far they were able to retrace their steps. And actually, even though it was a hard lesson, many of them hated for me. Because if you really, because I've seen this work before, it was the liberals that was used to destroy the Shah of Iran and bring in the extremists. It was the liberals that was used to destroy Assad and bring in Al-Qaeda in Syria. Liberals are only driven by emotions. The left. If you look at Europe currently, it is also the left that you are going to see supporting all sorts of nonsense that are giving people, for instance, look at this particular MP in the United Kingdom. You are from Pakistan. They gave you the opportunity that you will never give outsiders in Pakistan. You became the MP in Coventry, of all places. And you now said you want everybody should join you on how to abolish the British monarchy. Coming from a Pakistani, tell me how is that not the definition of insanity? And you are saying that conservative, right-wing, populist political candidates are now going to emerge within politics across the world. It's going to happen. It is not different from people who came to Lagos to do business or came to Yoruba land, and all of a sudden they are organizing, oh, we must destroy Tinubu, we must destroy Oba of Lagos. How? And when we tell you, no, you are not Yoruba, you cannot teach us how to preserve our politics and our civilization in Yoruba land. Oh, you're a tribalist. Oh, you're a tribalist. It is insanity. Oh, we are so happy. Now, nobody can swindle our youth again. They'll stand their ground. They are not politically correct to be cyber, because social media is the biggest tool of social engineering in the world now.
Thank you.
You lose the battle on social media, you lose the battle of the mind. Social media
All right.
are the three most critical of social engineering.
Yeah, Shikakwe, next person. Well, Mr. Oluwa Toby, please, 2 minutes with your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, good evening. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Well, I would love to ask, because basically what is happening in Nigeria currently is actually pinpointing to the history that has happened before, in which two tribes coming together just to destroy the regional system of government that was operating in the southwest. Then, we don't need people who supporting, but Yoruba ni àìtíníkà ni kíní kan àbí àìtíníkà Yorùbá ṣe máa pa òwe yẹn. So what I just want to ask is that now, what the present situation of the country, we all understand that the Northerners are all looking for the way and avenue to unseat Tinubu. What is the way forward for Yorubas? Because now the destiny of Yorubas is in the hands of that man. May God bless him and may God help us to ensure his longevity on that throne. What is the way forward for Yorubas based on how we are in the midst of wolves in this country? I would like to, because we are in the midst of wolves. What is this? What is the way forward for Yorubas? How do we navigate ourselves? And how do we position ourselves so that we will not be feudalized amongst that country called Nigeria? That's my question.
Esheun, Are, I hope you heard him. Are, your mic.
You're muted, sir.
Can you summarize it? Can you summarize the question for me?
What Mr. Olua Tobi Konoso ni pé, as it is in Nigeria today, it is very clear that bí pé àwọn ẹ̀yà méjì tó kù wọ́n ti di ọ̀tẹ̀ pọ̀ láti rí pé Tinubu ò ní padà lẹ́lẹ́kejì. Pé kí wá ní ohun tí a lè ṣe.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tinubu pé kí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí ẹ̀mí ààrẹ Tinubu kó dàgbà sí kó.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to say something on here, and it's a geopolitical truth. It's not going to sound well saying Yoruba Tebangbon. I know a lot of you are very emotional. Yoruba people, our code of conduct, our code of life, Omoluabi, is built on humanity. But we need to retweak it so that we can survive this century. It is normal for an Arewa nationalist and an Igbo nationalist not to want a Yoruba man with a Yoruba consciousness to ever rule Nigeria. It makes sense.
Àgbọ́yé.
It makes sense for somebody that is an Igbo nationalist and an Arewa nationalist not to ever want a Yoruba man that is from the Awois bloc to ever become the president of Nigeria. Nigeria is geopolitics. That is why you have geopolitical zones. Arewa does not have access to the sea, even though it has landmass. And most of the landmass and the population is absolutely useless. Sorry to use that word. The Southeast might have the human resources because of Western education, but it does not have the landmass, the fertile land, and the resources, and it is also landlocked. So it is dangerous for the Yoruba people that are also spread in 10 states out of 36, almost 1/3 of Nigeria, to have access to political power, despite the fact that the soft power that Nigeria projects is Yoruba power. The basis of Pentecostal Christianity in Nigeria is Yoruba Christianity. The custodian of Islam in the entire South are the Yoruba people. The economic power of Nigeria, the economic engine of Nigeria is the Yoruba, the ends of the Yoruba people. The industrial complex that actually makes a nation is also coming from the Yoruba people. It is not an isolated race. It is also a transnational race with borders, with kinsmen in Benin Republic, in Togo, and it's also an empire-building race. It has a track record of building great and modern civilizations. Organically, for the past 2,000 years, you are not giving such you are watching and you are saying they should give such a people power. No. Because in a centralized system like Nigeria, I want to say something also very crucial now. In a centralized system like Nigeria, where there is a fight for power and resources, it is only the strongest that will emerge. There will be a superpower that will subjugate and dominate the rest. economically, militarily, culturally, socially, religious, spiritually. It is going to happen. There's no way. You can't survive it. So, Yoruba people can have all these potentials. Just keep them away from the political power. But now, we have political power. And what you have is consolidation. And we are not even doing anything. It's just natural thing, trying to put things in place. Trying to do real tax laws. 30% derivation. We control our gaming rights. Where we can control the proceeds from our gaming rights. We control this, we control that. We have a system that we give everybody a proper federated system that mirrors the diversity of Nigeria. There's going to be trouble. So 2027 is the only way they can do something, or organize a coup, have they been trying, or create a chaos. But unfortunately, that could have happened if the consciousness of the Yoruba people was at the 2022 level. You can't do that anymore, because we are now not ashamed to tell ourselves the truth. Tinubu, even though he's a Nigerian president, is representing the Yoruba constituency. He is using the Yoruba card. The Northerners, Arewa nationalists, wanted to adopt Tinubu by saying he is using the Islamic card. But that has backfired and failed in flying colors. We thank God. So the irony of the supremacy of Muslim ticket has now been thrown into the dustbin where it belongs. So ethno-politics has now triumphed over religious politics. Torí religious politics ò pé Yorùbá, because we are religiously diverse but ethnically homogeneous. Kò pé Yorùbá. So ethnic politics la mama play. So we've now turned ethnic nationalism into our religion, which we call Yorubanism. Tinubu máa wọlé 2027 inshallah. Àdúrà táwọn máa gbà ni pé báwo la ṣe parí 2031. But the symbolism of power, having power with the soft power, the potentials we have, being in the corridors of power, living the doldrums of opposition for after 60, 70 years in the wilderness, and now understanding what Nigeria means to an average, because for 60 years, our fathers did not see a Yoruba presidency. They don't know what Yoruba presidency means. What they tell us is, oh, la yawo lowo, Western region, no promote. Now we understand Yoruba presidency. We know what Coastal Road is all about. We know how we got 30% of our taxes. We know all those things. We know that, oh, la Yoruba presidency, on la get state police. La Yoruba presidency, only one break here where give money. You know, those are the things that we hope is surely going to happen. So, survival politics is what Arewa and the Southeast has always been playing in Nigeria. Survival politics with domineering politics, because it fits their own reality, and it is not wrong for the Southeast to play such a politics, because they also want to survive. They are human beings. It is not wrong for the North, core North, to play such a politics, because their entire social fabric is built on it. In that account, Sonny, they should not drag us into hell with them. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
To Ààrẹ, ẹ ṣé gan ni. Thank you very much. Mr. Saheed, mo rán yín lókè ẹ jọ kí ni ìbéèrè yín o, or you just want to make a comment.
Alexa, I just wanted to make it.
Ààrẹ iṣẹ́ ń gbọ́ wọn, hold on Mr. Said. Okay. Okay.
I made a mistake, right? So I want to ask you questions while making comments. Like, who are we? Who are we as humans? How do we get here? How do we get so sad? Because we are too sad right now. As far as I'm concerned, it was the 19th century where there was so much war, and then the people who were kids in the 19th century were
Bakari, can you please get him to speak a bit louder, please?
Okay, Mr. Said, wọ́n ní kẹ́ try kẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè díẹ̀ sí o, Mr. Said.
Hello?
Wọ́n ní kẹ́ try kẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè díẹ̀ sí. And then maybe you are closer to the fan. It's giving some kind of a noisy background.
Hello?
Ibi tí a wà yẹn ó wà a bit noisy. Okay.
Hello?
Oh, we hear you now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Correct me because it's a notion that I have. Like, who are we? How did we get to where we are? Like, how did we get there? Like, who are we? Why are we so passive? Where did we get our passivity from? Because it did not. Our ancestors were not passive people. You don't get primary real estate in the coast of West Africa by being passive. So when did that start? As far as I'm concerned, it started very clean, right? The people who are kids very clean were the elders in the 20th century. So, welcome people, be smiling, and all this type of moving thought process that we built in your balance started to let's welcome everybody. That was not Yoruba land. Now, Yoruba land was multi-ethnic, yes, but the majority, the people who make the decisions, the people who are in charge were our ancestors. We need to get our belligerents back. We are not belligerent enough in this country. We need our belligerents. That grandfather has managed to. Of being Yoruba. How do we get back to
Bakari, is everything all right, sir? I can't hear you.
Yeah, everything is good.
Okay.
Are you hearing him? His comments?
Yes. Let me quickly answer the question.
Okay.
The question is that the what he's talking about is not the problem of the Yoruba people alone. Let me start breaking it down. Firstly, there were inter-ethnic and inter-tribal civil war. Secondly, there was colonization. Thirdly, there was slavery. Fourthly, there was the Berlin West African Conference. So there has been layers and layers and layers of trauma for the average indigenous Black man. It is very difficult for people that has never seen 24-hour electricity, quality education. They don't even control their academic curriculum. For them not to be in that state of docility. And let me tell you the truth. I've studied many historical facts. Let me give you this example. While Western Europe was busy advancing the Industrial Revolution that started in Britain in the 18th century, the Industrial Revolution that started in other part of Western Europe in the 19th century, Russia, which was also a European country as at then, with a beautiful capital city in St. Petersburg, was still practicing serfdom, feudalism, a form of modern slavery. And it was still in the same European continent. How did they do that? It's because there was a state controlled. So you look at places, you look at Kano, Lagos, Ibadan, Abeokuta, you compare it to what you see in Damaturu, you see in Zamfara, you see in Gusau, you see in Katsina. You start asking yourself, the same country, why can't they copy each other for good? Because there is a state control apparatus that limits people's life. So that's why you have this level of docility in Yoruba land. And we thank God that we now have a means to reach thousands of Yoruba people every week. Not hundreds, not tens. Thousands of Yoruba people every week. That is why without any form of financial inducement and emolument, many of us have dedicated our lives to this. Not just to talk, to organize our people into powerful political bloc, to be able to understand the kind of politics being played within Nigeria. And it's going to get better. Let us be positive, and it's getting better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Ajoke, anybody who had lọ́dọ̀ yín tó ní any question? Àbí láti either YouTube or any of the social media platforms?
Miss Bakari, a ṣì ní èèyàn kan lórí stage lórí X Abu Maya.
Wọ́n gbọ́ wọn sókè ni, that's why okay, Mr. Abu.
Actually, I think you come up to speak because we have one question on the.
Ibi tí a wà yẹn ó ní inference.
Okay, let me do answer again. Now, mo dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ fún akitiyan CYF on now, the first question is this. As a Yoruba now, isn't it the right time? Ṣé kìí ṣe àsìkò ní that we should start projecting and connecting with Yorubas from other countries? Because I foresee a future where Nigeria is going to be hot. And we as a Yoruba, we need assistance. We need connection with other Yorubas from other countries. That's one. Two, there's this recent words, political Islam. I, as a Muslim, I am a man. I live in our land. I am a Yoruba proper. Is there a future for Muslim in future Yoruba land? Those are the two questions I have. Thank you so much.
Are
that should be our last question. Number one, President of Nigeria is a Yoruba Muslim. So anybody and is represented. So the issue of saying that do we have what is the future in Yoruba now? I think that should be all. Muslims have been major stakeholders in the future of Yoruba land for the past 300. Secondly, you are asking, when people talk, it is a technological, sociological terminology. To be able to separate those practices, anything can be weaponized. People weaponize ethnicity, clannishness. People weaponize tribalism. There are some people within Yoruba land that if you are from Oyo, they hate you. So if you are with them in a particular place and then jà fún bóyá a particular position or jà fún contract, they will gladly, because they are not qualified and they cannot compete and they are looking for how to, they will start using hate, tribal hate to start, they will politicize tribalism. So that is what we call political tribalism, to get leverage. Vice versa, some people believe because somebody is not Oyo, coming from another part of Yoruba land, they can also gang up and politicize. It is called politicized tribalism. Now, if somebody is Yoruba and somebody is Igbo, and the Yoruba man is qualified, the Igbo man is more qualified, and he wants the leverage, he can politicize ethnicism and say, oh, that person is Yoruba, oh, they are traitors, they are this. Oh, it is called politicized political ethnicism. So when we say political Islamism is what we see in the corners. A good example, we are a minority that is less than 10% of the population has been able to subjugate the majority using religious man-made laws and calling it religion to subjugate the majority. In that way, political Islam here, where people, you are going to steal money, you are going to loot money meant to build schools, to build hospitals, and you are going to now give money to some religious clerics to say, because you refuse to build schools, you refuse to build hospitals, people are dying in their millions. You now give people money to say, it's because it's the way God has willed it. That is political Islam. Where you are going to say, because there's a state like Southern Kaduna, a state like Kaduna, where there is almost 50-50 Christian Muslim, you are not going to be telling people you must vote for Christians because they are infidels, they are kafiris. You'll be patronizing them in order to subjugate and destroy them. You are going to be sponsoring violence against them. See somebody, because you hate someone, Christian in your neighborhood, you start lying to him as you are shouting blasphemy in one part. That's political Islam. Because what you are politicized. In terms of politicized, you are weaponized. Don't forget, politics is war. War is politics with bloodshed. There is also political Christianity. Due to the evolution and the separation of the state from religion in the Western world, especially towards the age and during the period of the philosophy of enlightenment in the late 19th century and the 20th century, they've been able to separate.
I think we lost her.
It is very because they separated religion from the state. Where people don't even know that there is political Christianity weaponized to fight slavery, transatlantic slavery. That was why
Bear with us just a moment, please. Just a moment, sir. Sir.
political Christianity Only one law láti justify penals and genociding of indigenous people in America, in the Americas. So you can weaponize religion. In fact, there is political Buddhism. Political Buddhism. Only one law láti expel and genocide Muslims in. So to jẹ́ pé they are very diabolical that they were political Islam. Wọ́n weaponize Islam ní Sudan or not to destroy Sudan because they wanted to hijack and take over the entire oil in southern Sudan. So it don't pè ní political Islam.
Babakari, we can't see you, sir. And you're muted.
Mr.
Yeah.
Abu Mohammed. Okay.
Mr. Abu. Okay. I think àti kò sí anybody lórí ètò mọ́ lálẹ́ yẹn. Ààrẹ ti dáhùn ìbéèrè yẹn.
Okay, so we have a question.
Yeah, definition
we have questions from our social media platform that
Okay.
I need to answer quickly before we round up. So I'm going to show the first question now from YouTube. So, Are, this is a question from Your Mind, and it's to do with Venezuela, I believe. It says, with the recent dispose of Maduro, what's the probability that such scenario could play out in Nigeria if the upcoming general elections result into somewhat manageable anarchy?
Of course, it can happen. It can happen. In fact, worse things has happened in Nigeria. Are we not seeing America already bombing Sokoto? So that is why we are telling some people, let Arewa be burning flags. Don't join them in all those nonsense. So I won't if you don't test the bomb. They can't feel that one can't feel that one test the bomb. I don't count superpowers. All this nonsense I don't want to be because degree university one of the degree. You not think you are at the same level with white Americans or ethnic or Russians? They will bomb you into pieces. People that are already doing lesser guns, lesser technology, these are things that you see in movies. These are people that are operating, they are 400 years ahead of you. They have their dues there, they can tolerate you, they're just looking at you. Let me tell you the truth. They can enslave the entire black race again and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. Nothing. I come protest me. Black Lives Matter. Of you shooting targets. Instead of us to use our head and position ourselves and understand the way the world works. Our emotionally damaged riffraff. And everybody has now weaponized our pains, our trauma, and our rage. Religious extremists, Arab supremacists, religious fundamentalists, are not Pan-Africanists. Ethnic supremacists, are not Pan-Africanism. Dictators, killers, assassins, are not Pan-Africanists. On immoral people, are not Pan-Africanists. Because everybody understands that black people are more emotional than logical people. People love emotions. That's why we love music. We just want to dance away our sorrow and come back to it. We are not practical people. That's why we love quick, miracle centers. That is what we are teaching here, that the world is practical. You take your time, You look at it in the face. Because if Nigeria is going to be saved, if the indigenous people in West Africa is going to be saved, the Yoruba people are going to play a crucial role in it. Because we are the only people that is not looking for who to kill to get access to the Atlantic Ocean. We are the only people who are not looking for who to kill in order to get access to River Niger. We are the only people who are not looking for who to kill in order to get access to unlimited mineral resources, oil and gas. Because we have it. We don't need to look at Somalia, Ethiopia. Ethiopia has been crying everywhere, looking for access to Atlantic, to the Red Sea. So Ethiopia is begging. Wait, I'm already letting for anybody new for the next 100 years. Come and sign 1 year for life. Just give us one pot. Just one pot. Come, ni access la sound to the Atlantic Ocean. Shall pot because to ale kuniko. Shelika. If everybody say they want to do pot ni Southwest, nobody even takes it serious. It's no big deal. And you're supposed to pot for Southeast to buy. One man he left you know. You just give us one seaport. You see, we will not develop because they understand. They understand. So we need to change our mindset. The Yoruba people have a mindset problem. We are not poor in the material things. We are poor mentally and psychologically. I don't want to say spiritually. Today, I'm sorry, let me say kobo. The world powers, major powers. Today, I'm to divide Nigeria. Nigeria was created by the superpowers. Our superpower to create Nigeria. I want you to superpower, but what is the middle power? I want the nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapon is no big deal anymore. North Korea has nuclear weapon. Israel has nuclear weapon. Pakistan has nuclear weapon. India has nuclear weapon. India is also a middle power. I forgot to add them. They have nuclear weapon. So nuclear weapon is a big deal, more. Having nuclear weapon does not make you a superpower. It is just one of the criteria to become a superpower now. So the Yoruba people need to understand Nigeria and play the game the way it is. Set our priorities right. Kila need in Nigeria. Konshi ote ati dembelekun. They got about salute of anybody more. You are not the messiah of anybody. Mind your business. Fix your house. Unite your people into a powerful base. And be intentional about your survival. When we did the tax bill, Tinubu did the tax bill. Call Northerners, Arewa nationally said, this tax bill is against the interest of the North. They did not mince words. It is not against the interest of Nigeria. It is a sectional interest, and they are crying all over. So we must also say, this thing you are doing is against the interest of the Yoruba race. QED. Because Nigeria is an amalgamation of ethnic nations, and we are not going to dissolve in Nigeria. We are not. We will insist it with our lives.
Thank you so much, Are. Thank you. I believe that's all for tonight. Do you have any more speakers? Hi, do you have anyone else that wants to speak before we go?
No, we're good. We're good.
Madam Ajoke Ade, you're back. Welcome back, ma. Do you have any contribution before we leave now?
Actually, no.
Okay. No question, nothing. All right.
From my side, no.
All right. Right.
But I think for Tuki Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Thank you. Odun Ayo Lamasheo. àní rí ìbànújẹ́ nínú ọdún yìí o. Gbogbo nǹkan tí gbogbo èròǹgbà wa lélẹ́dùmarè máa mú ṣẹ lágbára Ọlọ́run. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much, Are, for the lecture and the Q&A. And I want to say thank you to our audience, our viewers as well, across all social media platforms. Thank you for engaging us and for being very active today in the comment section. TikTok, unfortunately, we can't see you here, but your messages have been sent. And when you have questions next week, we'll be able to capture them. I will be able to ask Are. We're going to ask Are directly here on live. I want to wish everyone again Happy New Year. Akodun, Akuyiju, àlékún owó, àlékún ọmọ, àlékún àlàáfíà. Ọlọ́run á fi ìdùnnú kẹwàá nínú ọdún tá a wà yìí. Wọ́n dẹ̀ fún wa ní ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Thank you for joining us as always every single week. I'm hoping that we will see you again next week in good health and of sound mind. And we'll also be here with you in good health and of sound mind. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Ó dàárọ̀, ojú àtúnwárí o.